Welcome to Gaia's Voice podcast with Matilde Croscini. This podcast is for women looking to connect with their innermost wisdom and unlock their unlimited potential to be who they were born to be. This space is for you. This time is yours. You are held by the earth underneath you. Be you. Be wild. Be free. Now let's begin.
Hello, and welcome to this new episode. I'm so happy and excited to be with you today, and also a little bit nervous. And this is actually where the topic of today comes from, is this feeling of nervous excitement when we do something that has a meaning for us. When we're keeping ourselves in a lovely comfort zone of doing what's safe, that feeling isn't there. We're fine. We know exactly what we're going to do. We've tried this before. There's no risk. But when we start connecting with something deeper within us and we start really answering that calling of what we truly want to do, what we truly feel, it sets our soul on fire, our heart singing, then this feeling of how is this going to be received can arise. It will arise. It's actually quite an indication of how important to you it is what you're doing. And so it is something to learn to deal with. Because if we just shy away from that feeling, I don't want to feel anxious, so I'm never going to do a podcast episode ever again. I am never going to sit here in front of you ever again, because there's this feeling before and possibly during it that I really want to avoid at all costs. It makes me uncomfortable. Then that will prevent me from doing something that I know deep down it's so soul nourishing for me. And also I know it can have an impact and such a wonderful effect. And that happens. Everyone that is trying to do something meaningful. And I want to say this because I remember a time when I thought I was the only one feeling nervous. I could see all of these amazing women and speakers out there, or amazing artists putting out their art, amazing singers, anyone that was just doing anything that really was so important to them. And I thought, look, they seem so at ease with this. There must be something with me that every time that I want to do something like that, that I feel like I would like to do something like that, I feel so anxious. So obviously it's because I'm not good enough at this, or I'm not ready. Maybe I need to do some more training. I need to do some more work on myself before I am truly ready to do this. And then that feeling will go away. And then as I started talking to them, I've learned that they all feel the same, and that feeling actually doesn't go away. It doesn't. And so I heard somewhere, and it really resonated with me, that why think of it as an anxiety and a nervousness, but why not think about it as an excitement? I'm excited to be here with you. Turn it from something that we want to avoid into something that is cool. Like, I mean, I'm excited to be here with you today. And that is the feeling that I'm feeling in my body. It's excitement for sharing this space with you, doing something that for me is so valuable, so important, so meaningful. And that really helped. I remember it was about 2 years ago that I did my very first live video on Facebook. And I remember holding my phone in my hand, and I was there for about 20 minutes with my finger hovering over the button, trying to decide whether to do this or not. And this feeling inside of, oh my goodness, what's gonna happen? And so I started asking myself some questions, some really fundamental questions, because I've noticed that every single time that I'm about to do something that is really meaningful, this feeling comes up. And yes, reframing it is quite a step. It's quite a help already. So turning it from anxiety into an excitement, actually to something that fuels you to do this, to go even deeper into what you're doing. That's, yeah, that feels really good. But there can be there there can be still something there that is preventing it from going for whatever it is that you feel you want to go for. And I've noticed then, the more I got in tune with this, is that that feeling actually is not only there when I'm about to jump on to a live or a podcast or teaching a class in front of people, but is also there with me even when I am on my own and I'm doing something just for myself. I could be making a decision in my garden. I could be deciding to try a new recipe or anything, like the most ridiculous thing. I do some DIY sometimes, and it could be like deciding to, oh, what color am I going to paint this piece of furniture? And this voice still comes in of this nervousness, this, should I really be doing this? Should I ask someone first? And I don't know if you resonate with this, if that has happened to you. So I started asking some questions, and the first question is, who am I asking permission to? Who am I asking permission to? And why do I feel the need to ask permission? And I don't know why, if you also do this, why do you need to ask permission before you do anything that is meaningful to you? I had to look back to my childhood and my own life, and how unsafe I felt as a child to try something new. There was a lot of giving out, there was a lot of judgment. There wasn't the space to make so-called mistakes. And so it was easier to ask permission and know for sure that I could do something than to try and do it and then be given out. And also I was taught, literally taught, to ask permission. So before getting up from the dinner table, I had to ask permission. If I wanted to look at TV, I had to ask permission. If I wanted to go to the toilet when I was in school, I had to ask permission. So all those things that I would naturally just follow my inner guidance and go, okay, I'm done here. I just going to spontaneously feel into how I'm feeling and get up and go, or I'm going to feel into how I'm feeling and just decide to go to the toilet. Like, I mean, use my own discernment and my own body wisdom. I was taught to ask permission, and most of us were. Most of us were taught to ask permission rather than just use our own autonomy. Our own autonomy. And then all of a sudden, we are into this world where we are told, well, you gotta make your own decision. And I'm like, yeah, I love to. But up until now, I've been taught not to. And now all of a sudden, I'm an adult and I am meant to make my own decision, to take my own decisions. Wow, that's some jump. That is some jump. How am I meant to handle this? Takes some getting used to. And that programming of asking permission remains, is deeply in there, is ingrained. And it takes some retraining of the system and some awareness. So the other question, that was another one. Who am I trying to please? Who are you trying to please when you're doing something rather than something else? Who are you trying to please? And how is this deep in our tissues? How deep is this? The pleasing of others. How authentic can I be with myself if I am forever trying to please someone else? I mean, I want to paint my piece of furniture a color. Is this really the color of my choice? I wanna dress in a certain way. Is this really my choice? Anything that I'm doing, anything that you're doing at any given moment, who are you trying to please? Is it truly resonating with you, what you're about to do? Or is there a background of expectations of how you should behave if someone else was watching? And notice how that is at play even when you're alone. In many cases, that works on us, even when we're alone. And that was the biggest wake-up call for me, was like, okay, when I'm in the middle of a crowd, when I'm at a restaurant, when I'm somewhere, when I'm teaching, when I'm whatever, I am trying to behave in a way that fits a role, that please the people that are in front of me. And that was already quite, whoa, I really don't want to do this. I want to be myself. But then as you tune in more with yourself, you start seeing how that affects you even when you are by yourself. Because when you're choosing what to do with your life, with your career, with your family, within your parenting, who are you trying to please when you're making the decisions that you're making? And I'm going to leave this question to you to answer, because I don't have the answers for you. I can only answer that question for myself, but it's so key to answer these questions and not judge yourself for the answer that comes up. That's very important when we ask ourselves these deep questions, is to be really kind and understanding with whatever comes up, because it's part of the growing up process. It's part of, we've all been programmed in some way or another. And there's nothing bad about that. It's just the way it has been. And so being really kind allows those information to come through. So once you realize who you're asking permission to, who you're trying to please, then you can gently start being more authentic. You can gently start being more autonomous. You can gently start becoming the real author of your own life. You're free author with freedom of thought, freedom of action, freedom of speech. And the interesting thing also was for me to notice that as I went on within the journey through lots of healing modalities and understanding myself more and more, dive deeper, I ruled out the main ones. Okay, I'm asking permission to my teachers, or I'm asking permission to my family, or there's the big ones, you know, the parents. As a child, I've learned, so I'm still seeking approval of my mother. But what can happen is that when you start then following perhaps some teachings, you could be following this podcast, or you're following some courses, you're doing anything like that, then there can be, I'm not saying that there is for you, but there can be a transfer that new teacher, that new role model, even if it's someone you've never even spoken to, even if it's someone you've only seen on social medias, or you've seen them on magazines, you've seen them somewhere, you've read a book, you've read a really cool book that inspired you so much, that there is a transfer of asking permission and seeking approval of that person. And that can be really interesting to notice. And of course it goes all the way back to childhood anyways, so the root remains the same, but it goes under the radar because you have a high respect of that person maybe you're learning from, and so it seems like this is really good. I know when I was studying for my herbalism course, I was obviously looking for advice and asking questions to my teacher. But then once I graduated and went on and I started making my own things, I could still feel it's like that person stayed with me. And there's always this, oh, I wish she was here to tell me if I'm doing this right or if I'm doing this wrong, or that kind of can remain. And again, it's really to free ourselves from anything that can limit your potential, which is unlimited. It's infinite. It's gorgeous. It can stifle your creativity. I've recently received gorgeous images for a deck of affirmation cards that I'm working on from an amazing artist. And as I was editing the images for my deck, it's like she was on my shoulder. I was like, oh my God, will she like what I'm doing? She's not involved in this project. This is my project. And my creativity is what is going into, and what, and trust that what I'm bringing to this is going to make it amazing for me. So again, who am I trying to please? Who am I asking permission to? Am I trying to please every single person that could possibly come across my set of affirmation cards? That's impossible. That's impossible. Not everyone is going to like them. And why am I asking permission of someone that is not related to this project? Although she's a wonderful, amazing artist that oh my God, I have so much admiration, and she inspires me so much, and hence I got her images for my cards. But that's now not in the picture anymore. It's me, it's my heart. It's what feels right to me that is making these decisions right now. And it is a process. It is a process. So it is to be really loving, really kind. When we start notice how deep this goes, the more you open up to notice, the more you might see how this is just quite all pervasive in a lot of things that we do in life, in a lot of things. And it can also be like, oh wow, am I really so caught in this? There can be a judgment that comes up, but I invite you to really be so kind and welcome this information. Anytime that you notice that you're a little bit caught in this kind of a pattern, to really be so welcoming of the information, so grateful for this incredible awareness. It takes so much courage to admit that this is what has been going on. And that's the third part, the audacity part, which is, are you daring? Are you daring to go beyond this? So are you daring to press the live button for the video like I did? Are you daring to do the podcast? Are you daring to create that art that you want to create? Are you daring to design your garden the way you want it to be? Are you daring to put on the dress that makes you feel awesome? I'm wearing green today. And I still remember as a child, I was told that green is a really difficult color. You should really not dare, funnily enough, to wear it unless you're truly sure that you're very, very, very good looking. That's like such a lot of nonsense. I really love this green dress and I'm wearing it. It makes me feel good. What does it mean to be truly good looking? Where's the set of rules? Where are the guidelines for that? I suppose they're telling us that there's plenty of guidelines everywhere for how you should be looking like and how you shouldn't be looking like. But we know that that's just a lot of nonsense. So just do what feels, what makes you feel alive. What makes you feel alive? What makes you feel at home with you? My invitation is dare to do that thing that you feel so anxious about doing. I've learned recently how anxiety is nothing else but that energy behind us when we really want to create, but we're not. It's like that uncomfortable feeling that is our soul speaking to us, telling us, create, create, whatever it is that you're into. This is applicable to anything, anything. It doesn't matter what you want to do. We all have something inside that we want to birth into the world. It can be art, it can be anything. It can be an amazing meal, it can be anything, anything. When we gently nudge through that feeling of anxiety, how is this going to be received? Again, when we're afraid of how is this going to be received, we're asking permission, we're seeking approval of someone, we're trying to please someone. And sometimes it really, well, actually, not just sometimes, but all the time, it really has nothing to do with any other human being on this planet. It's totally an internal process, because even all of these people that have been in our life and when we were children have taught us to ask permission, have taught us we should behave in a certain way, well, they're not actually in this room with me right now as I'm doing this podcast. I choose to let them into this space by still giving in to that feeling and still deciding, maybe I won't do this because sure they would judge me if they were here. That's me letting them into this space. But when I dare, so when you dare, when you move beyond wanting to avoid that feeling, but you welcome it and go, there is this feeling in my body right now. I can feel wherever in your body you feel it. For me, it can be in my tummy sometimes. Just be comfortable being in the uncomfortable feeling and dare to go for whatever it is that you want to go for. I can feel it in you. I can feel that raw potential, that juicy, wonderful creatress that is mad to come out, She's like, yay, let me out. Let's have fun. Let's do this. It's going to be wonderful. And just to give a little bit of an answer to that part that can feel so anxious about being received. There are so many beings out there that are gonna love what you're doing. There are, for sure, for sure. Although it's not for them either that you do what you do. Again, we fall into we're trying to please. But it's just to say that it is. There are going to be people that will love what you're doing. It's actually impossible that what you do is going to be rejected by everyone. The same way as it is impossible that it's going to be loved by everyone. And it's part of it is to accept. There's going to be people listening to this podcast and going, wow, I really like this. And there's going to be people that will listen to the beginning and go, oh no, I really don't resonate with anything she says. And I'm not going to listen to anything else. And that's okay. That's part of it. So once we come to accept that we can't please everyone. We start being more comfortable in just pleasing ourselves, our own heart, our own heart, your own heart. You are so amazing right now, and what you have to offer, it's so wonderful, so wonderful. Think about, I have art all around me. I love this little corner of mine has so much art in it. There's about 10 pictures in a very small corner. And what if all those amazing artists just decided to to just go with that anxiety and just go with, I'm not going to do this because I need to ask permission, I need more approval, I need to make sure that everyone will love this, which is impossible, so I won't do it. Oh, we would have lost so much. I wouldn't have all this amazing art around me. That would be such a loss for everyone. So, who are you asking permission to? Who are you asking permission to? Who are you trying to please? Who are you trying to please? And are you willing to dare? Are you willing to dare? Daring. Who? Such a beautiful word. I love it. It has an amazing energy to it. Daring to take that leap, to go for it, to do that thing that you always wanted to do. And somehow, some way, for some reason, you haven't. How are you going to feel on the other side? I know how I feel every time that I do something that I was anxious or scared to do, but I knew I really wanted to do. It just feels so good. It feels so good. It's like, yeah, I've done this. I've done this. I can't believe I did it, but I've done it. Wow. And then the confidence increases. Confidence isn't something that you can just cultivate by sitting there and sort of going, oh yeah, I will do this once I'm confident. Confidence comes from actually daring. That is the only thing that builds through confidence. I remember learning when I was a kid in the swimming pool to dive head first in the pool rather than with my feet. So of course, the first step was to jump in and dive feet first. And then I remembered this ridiculous thing as a kid that, like, I was sitting on the swimming pool edge and then kind of putting my hands like I would go in head first, but ultimately I wasn't. It was always the feet that were landing in first. But each try, each jump, each dive built confidence to the point that I could totally dive head first, and I loved it. It was like, wow, look what I'm doing. This is awesome. And then I couldn't stop doing it because I really loved it, really enjoyed it. It was so much fun. But if I just sat there, that does the opposite. That feeds that I can't do this. The more we stay sitting there, the more that feeling of not being able to do it is listened to and gets stronger. Now, does that mean that it becomes undefeatable? No, never. You're always able to change this. You're always able to make the choice to dare. Always, at any stage. There is never a point where it gets hopeless and you won't be able to do it. That's really important. At no point you're a lost cause, ever, because ultimately where you are is perfect. And even if you are sitting at the edge of the pool for a long time before you decide to start going for it, that's also okay, because you are still engaging, you're still there. You're still there in the game. You're still looking at that water. You're still going, there's a part of me that knows I could do this and I can do this. And that part is making me stay here. That part of you is making you listen to this episode all the way to the end, because that part knows that you can do it. Whatever it is, that amazing thing that you're here to do, you can. You can. It's just a matter of starting, going for it. Take that first step. Take that first dive that looks horrible. That first attempt that makes a lot of splashing. and then get back on the edge of the pool and try again. And try again. And try again. Forget about the people watching who are probably minding their own business anyway. But forget about them. And just keep doing you, keep doing you, keep doing you, keep doing you, and repeat, and keep doing you. This is what we're about here. We're here on this planet to do us. You're here to do you, whatever it is, whatever it is. No expectations, no shoulds. Whatever it is that you're here on this planet to do. It's just being you. Ultimately, it's just being you. There was a lot there. There was a lot there. This was quite the episode. And my invitation is to be with this and hold those questions within you, so that you can start observing where in your life you're trying to please other people, where in your life you're asking permission, and where could you dare to take that extra step and shine your light. I'm so grateful to be sharing this space with you, and my heart is filled with love for you, because I know you're so amazing. I know you are. So thank you for being here with me, and thank you for listening, for sharing, for leaving a comment or a review if you feel called to do so. I love reading your comments. I love having this conversation with you. And if you want to connect with me further, you can find me at Gaia's Voice on Instagram, and you can also find me on Free to be a Goddess Facebook group, a group for women where I share content, where I share practices. I'm sending you lots of love. Bye for now. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed, feel free to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more. Join our growing international sisterhood at Free to be a Goddess on Facebook. Join a tribe of women
free to be their beautiful, wild, and sacred selves, safe and supported. Find the link in the description.